welcome back to the Ageas Bowl, where we are just about to get underway with the evening session. Sussex are resuming on 192 for 5. They have at the crease Luke Wright, the sometime England player. He's on 52, and they have Ben Brown, the wicketkeeper. He's there on 38. There are 30 overs remaining in the day. Still glorious sunshine here at the Ageas Bowl and blue skies. It's going to be Liam Dawson opening the bowling from the northern end of the ground as he comes in here now to bowl, and it's just dabbed out into the onside. I'm joined by Martin Pritchard. Martin, how do you see the day having gone so far today?
Well, good day's play so far. Good even game. I think if Hampshire can pinch one quickly after tea, they've got a good chance here.
As Dawson comes in again, and again the same outcome happens, no run. Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I in my head I have a kind of a running order for these things, where I think if 100 runs are scored in a session, that's good for the batting team, and if 3 wickets are taken in a session, that's good for the bowling team. As Dawson comes in, and this one's dabbed out to the offside, fielded by Jimmy Adams pretty easily, and passed back to Liam Dawson to bowl again. For me, I sort of see that as a kind of an average first day's play, 100 runs in each session, and 3 wickets, or 3 wickets and 4 in the final session, as this one's again dabbed out to the offside and fielded by James Tomlinson, who's fielding a little bit closer actually than he has been pretty much all day.
Yes, and yeah, I think Hampshire, if they'd got a 6th wicket, they would have been, pretty happy. But a bit of a tail in the Sussex team, so they might just fancy getting through them if they can get a quick one.
Absolutely, yeah. Liam Dawson, this is played a little bit more forcefully this time up the field. It's player quite a way away over there. Can you see them? That is over there, Martin. So is it Jimmy? No, it's not Jimmy.
No,
Adams.
it's not Jimmy Adams. Is that James Vince?
Looks a bit
possibly?
like James Vince, doesn't it?
Just looking at his height.
Yeah, tall like James Vince. As Dawson bowls again, and of course there's because Liam Dawson's a spinner. Of course the field is quite drastically different to how it has been most of the day, with the seamers in there. Only one slip there is Sean Irvin, and that is the end of the over. It's a maiden to start us off for the evening session.
Yeah, Ben Brown has looked very impressive since he came to the wicket at number 7. Wicket-keeper has got a good opportunity now in the Sussex team. Quite often second and even third choice in the Sussex team, Ben Brown. Of course, Matt Pryor still recovering from an injury that's kept him out of the international setup, and also prior to last season, Andrew Hodd was ahead of him, and he moved up to Yorkshire as their second keeper. So a good opportunity by Ben Brown, and certainly a good start of the season for him, supporting Luke Wright very well in a partnership that's added 64 runs till the present. A little bit of a discussion going on between Jimmy Adams and is that Gareth Berg?
Yeah,
yes,
Gareth Berg. Yeah, he's going to open up from the pavilion end of the ground. He's bowled tightly today, Gareth Berg. He's done okay. Just so far, he's bowled 12 overs so far, 3 maidens, 2 for 25, economy of just over 2. So that's that's a decent return there on his debut for Hampshire.
Yes, looks a good signing for Hampshire.
He runs in now, bowls over the wicket, and that's just well, that's a beautifully cover-driven ball out, and that is going to go to the boundary, is it? Yeah, it's going to make it all the way there.
Oh, bit of a knock there by the chasing fielder, who's holding his shoulder. Oh, and he's up. I was worried then. A little bit of a hobble.
It did look painful,
Can't quite see who that is. But it looks a bit of a rubbing of shins going on there by the
is it Jimmy
fielder.
Adams?
Yes, it is Jimmy Adams. That's right. Yeah. Jimmy Adams pulls his sort of trousers up to his knee, examines a bit of a cut or graze, I'd imagine he's got, and he's got a concerned crowd, and there's a little call Gareth Berg has called on the physio. Jimmy Adams is trying the old-fashioned way of running it off, but I think he's going to go off. It's quite a nasty sort of clash with the advertising hoardings there. Fair play to Jimmy Adams. Could easily have given that one up.
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because as it was going out there, and I'd said before it had gone over the boundary that it was going to the boundary. It was one of those where you kind of, it looked kind of inevitable, and you sort of, there's an element of you that thinks, well, it's lovely to see the commitment, Jimmy, but actually you should have probably just let it go, because the boundary is incredibly close to the advertising over there, isn't it? As opposed to on the other side of the ground, where you've got quite a lot of green space between the boundary rope and the advertising boards. It seemed like an unusual decision to try and stop that. As a Hampshire fan, of course, we want to stop every run, don't we? But not at the risk of losing your captain and opening batsman.
Yeah, certainly fielding is very different these days. Gone are the days where the quick bowler down at third man would just stick his boot down. It's expected now that people will dive and save. The standard of fielding in all sorts of cricket is far and above what it used to be. But I'd agree with you, Simon. Just at times you need to be a bit calm.
Berg runs in now over the wicket, and this is just played off the hip. This is also looks like it may make the boundary. No, it's going to be stopped out there. There is a fielder down there at just fine leg, kind of a wide fine leg.
Well, he's one of the ones I'm finding it easier to pick out. That's Chris Wood down there, and it's his is it pink coloured boots?
Oh, that'd be that's the obvious sign that's Chris Wood, isn't it? Yeah, bright. Is it pink or are they orange? Whatever they are, they're very loud. He's quite far away from us, which is why it's more difficult to see. But Berg runs in now, and this is just outside the off stump and goes through. No shot offered from Ben Brown, who's moved on to 44 since the break, and it's 198 for 5 to Sussex at the moment. But we have a substitute fielder on. Jimmy Adams has gone off now, and the substitute fielder is on. He's actually not got a number on the back of his shirt, which actually to me implies that it probably is Brad Wheel. You'd expect it to be him because he is the 12th man in the squad, but not always the case necessarily, as Berg comes in again, and this is a full length delivery that's just dug out. Well played really there by Brown to make sure that dug out that Yorker. So yeah, you would expect it to be Brad Wheel, but like I say, oftentimes, particularly on these 4-day games, players will go and rather than spend all day just sitting in the changing room, they'll go and do other bits and pieces, and they'll get other lads within the squad to come in and field. Berg comes in again, right arm over. This is fenced out into the onside by Ben Brown. Yeah, it's interesting what you say about, of course, Matt Pryor not being in the Sussex side. It's sort of he's not played for us for a while, and not quite sure. There doesn't seem to be a lot of information about when he might be coming back, which is odd for an England wicketkeeper. You'd expect there to be a lot of interest there. As Berg comes in now and played out to the offside, and that'll be the over. 198 for 5.
Of course, Matt Pryor might sort of look at the situation, and Butler is very much ahead of the game, and it may be that we might not see too much of Matt Pryor as a player. That with his injury problems, he might just decide that he's sort of come to the end of his career. I read a couple of articles about him. Did suggest that he was he'd been doing a lot of training, and he was feeling better, but still not quite match fit, and he'd clearly need some cricket playing for Sussex before he had any chance of getting back into the international field.
Liam Dawson continues from the northern end of the ground. Comes in now bowling to right, who's on 52, and he defends that back along the ground towards him. Of course, he's got trying to start himself up a cycling career as well, isn't he, Matt Pryor?
Yes. I was reading. I think the article also covered that. So he might be just finding another career for himself.
Dawson comes in again now. Left arm spin, and that's played out very deliberately. This down to third man, chased after by Tomlinson, who, fairness to him, gets there quite quickly, and then there's sort of a bit of a comedy moment as he throws it over the head of Sean Irvine. There's a bit of a stern look between the two of them as Sussex get another run.
Yeah, they pinched an extra run there,
and that's taken them to 201. They'd already gone to the 200.
Yeah, there was a few dirty looks from bowler, wicketkeeper, and Sean Irvine there to James Tomlinson, who sort of threw it between everyone.
A ripple of polite applause coming round the ground, recognising the 200 for Sussex.
Yeah, so that's a bonus point for both teams, and Hampshire just 1 wicket away from their second bowling bonus point. So this good partnership continues. 73 now between these two, right on 55, and Brown, who's scoring at 72 runs per 100 balls on 44.
And this is played out beautifully to the point where Michael Carberry's quite deep in the field, but he fields it, and there's just the 1 run coming off that one. Just going to see if I can quickly check up and see what the situation is elsewhere in Division 1, and listening to Dave Allen talk earlier about who's picked up points already. I know Yorkshire already had 1 bowling point, and we were joint top, the early leaders, with the 1 bowling point that we have as well.
Yeah, next delivery by Dawson, played down the wicket there by Luke White. Luke White, who really started like a bat out of hell, and was hitting 4s all over the place and playing himself in. 55 not out at the moment.
Yeah, I think he sort of felt like he needed to do that to wrestle back some of the initiative, didn't he? Right, so as this comes in from Dawson and just tapped out into the onside and fielded by Will Smith, who goes and picks it up. It's 1 run off that. Yeah, they were very much under the pump, weren't they, when Sussex when Wright came to the crease.
He generally only plays one way, and he, as I said, he started with a number of boundaries. He's sort of calmed down, but this is where Brown's innings has been so good. It's taken the pressure off Wright, and the scoreboard has kept ticking over at almost 3 runs and over now.
And Dawson goes back into ball now, and this is well, it looked more impressive a shot than it actually turned out to be. I thought it had gone farther than it had. It actually just went out to point where Carberry fielded it and played it and threw it back into the bowler, and that is the over. 203 for 5 Sussex, right on to 56, and Brown now on the cusp of that half century. He's on 45. Of course, I can say that because he's a Sussex player. If it was a Hampshire player, I'd be too nervous that I was going to jinx it.
Well, I'll try and jinx Luke White now. Luke White, of course, he got 100 here on his last visit in 2020 match in July last season. So he likes this ground. I've seen him play a number of similar innings, mainly in 2020. Of course, Hampshire haven't played Sussex that often in county cricket recently. Of course, I was searching on Cricket Info as this one comes in. It's Berg again, and this is played out into the onside and fielded by Carberry, who actually I think Carberry fancied a bit of a run out there. It was an optimistic throw at the shy at the non-striker's end, but he threw it back in with a fair bit of pace. Just the 1 run off that one. Of course, I was looking on Cricket Info for a table, of course, but they don't have them yet because there's no proper results. So I guess I'll have to do it manually. So looks like Middlesex have got 2 points already. They've got Notts 191 for 6 as Berg comes in now, and this is that's a baseball shot there from Wright as he and that's going to go well easily to the boundary. That's where James Tomlinson was fielding, but again, Tomlinson, as we've already mentioned, fielding a little bit closer in than he might usually be. So as soon as the ball was past him there was no chance of him getting that. Yeah, we were treated to a very good view of that shot, and we've seen Luke White play that shot many times. As you said, slightly baseball approach to it, but he's a very effective cricketer, and he got a very warm round of applause from the locals for his 50. I think they appreciated the type of attractive cricket that he plays. Going round the ground, so Somerset and Durham both have 2 points already. So Somerset are 249, so they're very close to their. They have 1 point. They're
1 run away from getting their second batting bonus point as Berg comes in now, and this is just fended back along the wicket to him. So Somerset 249 for 6 currently against Durham. Durham, of course, have their second bowling bonus point. Somerset, like I say, 1 run away from theirs. And Worcestershire versus Yorkshire. Worcestershire 190 for 5. That means Yorkshire, of course, have 1 bowling bonus points, none for Worcestershire as yet, but they're only 10 runs away from their first bonus point of the season. As this comes in from Berg, and that is nicely chopped out to the point. I was going to say to the point boundary, but it actually got a bit of a deflection from Danny Briggs on the way through, and that's managed to hold it up a little bit, which has stopped the ball going to the boundary. It was a fierce shot and nice fielding from Briggs, who's now rubbing his hand on his trousers, as if that might have stung a little bit. Michael Carberry, of course, got a bit of a knock to his hand earlier on in the day. When I was watching from right near where Carbs was standing earlier, it looked like he was still in a little bit of pain in the last session. As Berg comes in again now, and this is nice bit of batting at the moment from Wright as he again plays this out just off the hip into the onside. Moves to 65. Yeah, he looked like Carberry looked like he was still smarting a little bit when I was over there. He seems to be okay now. I presume he's had two intervals now to have the physio look at it and just make sure it's okay. Berg comes in again. Right arm over, and this one goes through to the wicket keeper. Ignored by Ben Brown. And that is the end of the over. It's 212 for 5 for Sussex.
We both took advantage of the chance to get out and do a bit of sitting in the sun in the afternoon, and certainly very pleasant conditions out of the wind, and not a bad crowd in actually. It seems to have fallen away a little bit. Certainly over 1,000 people here, which is never a bad thing for a county game, and really looking forward to Hampshire being back in Division 1 and seeing some of the teams that we haven't seen for 3 or 4 seasons now.
It does feel nice, doesn't it? Just when I was going through the other result or the other fixtures around the country, as Dawson Bowls from the northern end now, and this is there's a bit of an appeal, half an appeal from Wheater for the LBW, but nothing else doing. But it is nice, isn't it, when you're looking at the other results and you're looking at the likes of your Durhams and Somersets and Nottingham and Yorkshire, looking at those sorts of names, and to see how they're doing, rather than with the greatest of respect to the second division sides, to be looking at those ones. Do you have any thoughts, Martin, as Dawson comes in and bowls and this is played out onto the onside, no run? Do you have any thoughts as to who you expect to be up there and challenging come the end of the season?
What would be interesting, I was reading an article yesterday about Yorkshire, and there's 6 players down with England duty. So, I think absences may make quite a difference this season.
Dawson in again now, and this is again the same, almost an exact replica of the ball before it, fenced out into the onside, and no run given.
So there's a few teams who are short of players who are either English players in IPL or international players in IPL, and also West Indians and English players. So for Yorkshire, that would be quite a test for them in the first few weeks.
Some bowls and fended back to him by Luke Wright. I mean, yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because Yorkshire are without 6 players at the moment, but I would expect Rashid to be back with them pretty soon. Once this West Indies tour is over, probably Bairstow. And Adam Lyth I don't expect to play a great deal in the West Indies, with Jonathan Todd opening up the batting as Dawson bowls again, and this is played a bit more forcibly out to mid-on, and that'll be fielded. It's 1 run to Luke Wright. It goes to 66.
Because of course in April it's only county cricket that's played, and there can be 4 matches played fairly quickly, and you could end up missing your top players for 5, maybe even 6 games, and that's quite a percentage of the 16 that you play in the county championship.
Dawson in, and this one is cut away to the point region, and Carberry will field that, but it's going to be a well run two there, quick two from the Sussex batsmen, who are now pretty close, it has to be said, to a 100 partnership. They're on 215. The last wicket fell at 128, so they're only a matter of 10, 13 runs away from the 100 partnership at this point, which would constitute quite a turnaround given the start that we had earlier on today.
Yes, and I think Ed Joyce read the wicket very well. He played very cautiously. When it was there to be hit, he hit, and he left a lot go. And I think he realised that when they were 3 down that he had to get his head down. And although Hampshire did well to get him out when they did, I think he just set it up well. And Wright and Brown are looking reasonably comfortable as Berg has to go back on his mark, as Wright's not quite ready again. But this is a decent partnership. Only 13, so that's 87. Let's try a bit of bad luck. Australian unlucky number, 87 to these two at the moment.
Berg runs in and bowls, and this is a wolf. That jumped up a little bit, didn't it? Well, it's jumped up a lot. It's gone over Adam Wheater's head and it's gone to the boundary. So it's gone for 4. That's what the umpires are indicating. But yeah, we were talking earlier about. I heard somebody on our channel here talking earlier about how there's not much point in bouncing it in, but that got some purchase. That really reared up.
Yeah, Berg, who's looked a fairly sort of brisk medium, but he's not put any short balls in. But Adam Wheater might not be the tallest of keepers, but I think it would have taken some quite tall keepers to have stopped that one.
Berg comes in. This is fielded back to just into the onside, and that's Liam Dawson fielding there. Looks like Liam Dawson.
Yeah, looks like Liam Dawson.
Liam Dawson coming out of the slips. Actually, he's an excellent slip fielder, isn't he, Liam Dawson? He has bucket hands there, and interesting to see him actually away from the slip cordon, particularly to a fast bowler. And this is Berg coming in now, and that's played nicely actually down to the fine leg boundary. It's just stopped just short of it, and that is James Tom. No, it's not James Tomlinson over. That's Chris Wood again. I've identified the shoes now. I can see him all the way over there. Sussex move on to 221 for 5, 7 short of the 100 partnership. But yeah, so apart from Yorkshire, it seems to be most people's belief that it's Nottinghamshire and Warwickshire perhaps might be the other two. As Berg comes in, that tucks up right quite considerably as he just defends it into the onside.
I think Sussex, who we're seeing at the moment, I think they'll be quite competitive. I think that what the key for them, they've picked up 2 bowlers in Mills and Shazad, who have had their problems with previous counties, but if they click, they could be a team to beat with McGoffin as well.
As Berg comes in now, bowling to right, defended back down the wicket.
And of course, a lot depends on how many players you're going to lose to the international teams, and Sussex don't look as though they'll lose too many at the moment. But they've a decent squad, and they've performed very consistently in the first division of the Championship for a number of years.
Berg in now, and this is this gets a bit of height on it, and it's swung at quite impressively there by Wright. But you're only going to get 1 run for it, as it's again fielded by Carberry. Carberry being kept busy, even out there quite deep in the field. Of course, the ominous thing, of course, about Yorkshire is that yes, they have lost so many of their players to England, but of course, you know what is implicit in the fact that they've lost so many of their players is that they are very good at bringing youngsters through, young English cricketers through, and so although they may have a fairly untried, untested side for the first few weeks of the season, if they're anything like the Roots and the Bairstows and the Balance, well, not so much the Balances, of course, because he's a slightly less of a youth product of theirs, but and the Rasheeds and the rest of them, then even those young guys will be ones to watch.
Yeah, I've noticed watching the under-19s the last couple of years how many Yorkshiremen there are in the team, and people like Wilf Rhodes, who played a few games last season, and it looks as though he'll have a run in the team at the start of the season. So they've got some very promising players to step up to the mark.
Danny Briggs is going to take over from the northern end of the ground as he comes in now, and this is played back as a bit of confusion between Briggs and Dawson, and not fielded quite as well as it should have been, and Sussex are going to steal a run off it. Briggs so far in this match, 14 overs, 4 of them maidens, 1 for 36. He's bowling at an economy of 2.57. So usual, fairly stingy stuff from Danny Briggs. We'll run you through all the bowling figures for the Hampshire bowlers in just 1 second as Briggs prepares to bowl to Brown, who's on 47. Oof. And Brown taps that away to the offside, where it's sort of half fielded by, is it Tomlinson over here at point, and then mopped up by Carberry. So the other bowling figures at the moment, so James Tomlinson 14 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 45. Sean Irvine 9 overs, 0 for 17. He has had 5 maidens though, as this ball's bowled by Danny Briggs and comes straight back to him. Gareth Berg 15 overs, 3 maidens, 2 for 43. As Briggs comes in again now. And there's no run off that ball either. Chris Wood 10 overs, 1 for 39, 1 maiden. Liam Dawson 7 overs, 2 maidens, 0 for 17, and James Vince has had 3 overs which have gone for 19. Fairly expensive from James Vince, but I think they were just doing that to give a bit of the rest to the other players. Danny Briggs will prepare to bowl to Brown, who's moved to 49 now. He dabs that back along the ground and no run. Sussex 225 for 5 currently. Briggs bowls. And that is the over. So I think I'm going to be replaced on the commentary for my namesake, Simon Donohoe.
Hello, John.
Good afternoon, Simon.
Afternoon, everybody. Boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen. 225 for 5, John. This has been a more than useful partnership.
They've batted very well, haven't they? There's not really been a mistake, has there?
No, very solid, competent, capable, thorough. Dawson at the pavilion end, going to bowl his left arm. SLA will come past Alex Wolf, the umpire at this end. Russell Evans, the other end, for his first, I think his first, well certainly his first game of the season, as with everybody.
Luke Wright
panel.
On strike here. That's driven down to long on by Wright for a single. Brings Ben Brown on to strike, who's on 41 not out. 49 not out, should I say. Tomlinson's brought up from long on to a more orthodox mid on, trying to put a bit of pressure on Brown. Dawson round the wicket, and there's Brown's 50. Used his feet well there and pushed the ball between mid off and extra cover for a single.
A nice shot as well, wasn't it? Timed, well placed.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like April out there at the moment, Simon, does it? Outside it feels a bit more like April, but we've had sunshine just about all day, haven't we?
Good in the sun, but there's a chill factor.
Dawson again, and this is short, and Wright goes back and punches it hard, but straight to mid off. This just doesn't look the same pitch as it did this morning, the start of play.
No.
eased off to a high degree. Dawson again, and Wright drives again, but this time straight to extra cover. I should imagine Ed Joyce is quite relieved at the way things have panned out in the longer run.
Well, he made it look easy, didn't he?
And there's another drive from Wright, this time down to long on, Tomlinson Fields. One more single to Luke Wright's score.
That's the 100 partnership.
Takes him on to 72 now. Yeah, that's what the early batting was lacking, wasn't it? Partnerships.
128, 228.
Dawson again, and Brown goes back and cuts the ball hard out to the cover boundary for a single.
What did Adams do, John? I missed it. I was in transit.
He chased. Berg bowled a ball which was hit through the extra cover hard, and he chased it to the boundary, failed to stop it, and failed to stop in time before he hit the boundary board. And there was an almighty clatter, and he lay still for a moment and then got up and looked as if he was going to resume, and I think his teammates persuaded him to go off for a bit of treatment.
Right, so crashed into the hoardings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he hit one of his knees pretty hard,
right,
by the way he was reacting to it.
Right. I noticed that the sub who came on was wearing the corporate trainers.
Yeah.
As is Luke Wright.
So a slight lull in the play here while the field is sorted out.
Who's skippering? James Vince?
I think so. It's Danny Briggs going to bowl, and he's going to bowl over the wicket to the right-handed Ben Brown. Slightly unusual. This is pushed gently into the covers. Thought of running for a moment, but the ball got to Carberry pretty quickly, so it would have been disastrous.
Notice they took a couple of twos to Carberry earlier on.
Briggs again, and
Four.
It's a poor ball from the left arm spinner there. Plenty of time for Brown to go back and square cut it for four. In fact, it was hit in front of square, wasn't it?
Picked his spot, didn't he?
He had that much
spot.
time.
Yeah, but he had all day to decide which side of Carberry he was going to go, John. As you say, a poor view.
I mean, that's the one thing that's certain about this pitch, and has been all day, Simon, is that bowling short is not a good idea.
A recipe for disaster from a Hampshire perspective.
There's just no defence, is there? We bowl short on here. Briggs again, and it's a much better length. Brings Brown forward, pushes it out to mid-wicket, no run. This time Briggs just a little bit too near leg stump there, and that's just flicked away by Brown for a single. Not quite sure what the idea is of bowling over the wicket to the right-hander.
Well, seems five on
a bit of a negative tactic.
Well, definitely negative. 5 on the onside. Or
Briggs again, round the wicket now, to right, and there's a stumping attempt there by Wheater. Takes the bails off, but Wright was nowhere near out of his ground, I don't think.
Hasn't moved. Good take though, wasn't it? Good take, swift.
Well, he was just practising, wasn't he? It's like, well, I can't understand why players get booked in football for putting the ball in the net after the whistle's gone, Simon. It's just practising, isn't it? This one's pushed out square on the offside, no run, end of the over, 234 for 5. Wright's on 72 and Brown on 56, and very comfortable they look.
Yeah, 22 overs in the day remaining, and Hampshire bowled a good rate of overs all day, but you'd probably think they're looking at anything from what, 310 to 340 close of play.
Yeah, it's 21 left. In fact,
Sorry.
Simon, they hadn't. The board hadn't moved around when you read it.
4
But
and over would give us 80, say 314, so 310, 325.
And Dawson bowling from the pavilion end round the wicket still, left arm spin. And the over rate's still showing +4, which it has for some time now. Here's Dawson again, and Brown uses his feet well there, and it's a good tumbling stop at mid-on there by James Tomlinson. Just keeps him to a single.
Dropping Tomlinson back here, John.
Yes, I mean that would have been 4 had he not stopped the last one, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Both slow left armers appear to have a deep mid-on for right, don't they? But not all the way back. I never understand that.
Dawson bowls again, and
4.
this is a good shot by Wright there. Gave himself room, went back as far as he possibly could, and played it as late as he could.
See, I'm back to your point again, John. You bowl one bad ball per over, and it's put away. It's 4 runs. Again, what was it? It was short.
Ensures a comfortable scoring rate, doesn't it?
Yeah, you don't have to worry, and particularly when it's the first or second ball of the over.
That was born out of his success in one-day cricket, though, that shot, wasn't it? And this one is much better ball, and he stretches a long way forward there.
Does take a big step forward with his when he's playing his photograph forward defensive.
Quite exaggerated, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
Here's Dawson again, and that exaggerated forward defensive shot in evidence once more. Dawson bowls, Wright drives, easy single down to Tomlinson at deepish mid-on. Yeah, what's been good about his batting today, Simon, is that by and large he's played either defensive shots or attacking shots. There have not been all those in-between ones, have there? And Simon just pointed to an ambulance driving along the berm towards the hotel there, to suggest that maybe a worker's been hurt.
Yeah. Oh, Roy's gone not again, so that's
it's pulling up behind the scoreboard, going in front of the hotel, in fact. Briggs, in the meantime, is going to bowl round the wicket to Luke Wright, who plays exaggeratedly forward again.
Somebody chasing the ambulance.
Hampshire got an interesting field position for Wright here. It's a silly mid-on, but he's in the bowler's half of the pitch, and that one's played gently back to the bowler there. There's a long on behind him, so it's they're hoping he's going to hit one in the air towards long on.
Yeah,
and again he stretches forward, plays into the leg side there. Dawson from that silly mid-on, well, not particularly silly mid-on position, does the fielding. Briggs bowls again, and this is flicked to mid-wicket by Luke Wright. Then no chance of a run. And Danny Briggs looking to see if he's trying to bowl this over as quickly as possible, doesn't he? Bowls again, and it's just going down the leg side, hits right on the pad as he misses a ball. He's looking like a left-handed Lance Gibbs at the moment, the speed with which he's going through this over. This is outside the off stump, and Wright thinks about playing a shot, just leaves the ball. End of the over. That's 240 for 5.
That's speed, that over, John. I mean, it was almost sprinting through it. Yeah. Well, the ambulance has arrived. I hope it doesn't mean that somebody who's on the ground is going to be shortly listening to this broadcast in hospital.
Well, it doesn't seem to be anything to do with the spectators, does it?
No, they've gone into the hotel building, John. So Roy was saying that somebody had been injured on site previously. Let's hope it's nothing serious.
It could be something like an electrician getting a shock or something, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Is that Michael Carberry coming onto bowl? Yes, it is.
It is Carberry. Funny, we talked about Carberry earlier in the day. I think I was with Simon Vincent when he was talking about Michael Carberry last year. Well, that Simon Vincent, he's ahead of the game again.
This is Hampshire's eighth bowler of the day, isn't it?
Who does that leave? Wheater?
Adams,
2.
Smith,
well done. Oh, that was John. Oh, he got away with that.
Yes, he bowls a long hop outside the off stump, which is square cut by Brown, but straight to the man on the cover boundary, so only a single ensues. Carberry with his collar up in the style of Tony Gregg.
Yes.
Now has to bowl at Luke Wright on 77. And Wright eases forward, they just gently pushes the ball between square leg and mid wicket for an easy single. It shows that Wright's head is in the right place there, Simon, because he didn't try to whack that, did he? He thought it was an easy single there.
Yeah,
so I'll take it.
He's accumulating now, isn't he, John?
Yeah. And this one is driven by Brown to long on. Liam Dawson does the fielding. Reminds everybody that he throws with his right hand.
I think they're netting at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit. The game's going through the motions a bit now, isn't it?
Still 19 overs to go today, John.
And Wright stretches forward to this ball.
See, Wright, when he came in, set off a pace, didn't he?
Yeah. And then reminded himself that he was playing a 4-day match.
Consolidated since then, and hit the loose ball.
Carberry again. And this one's driven by Wright to long on. Dawson again. One more run. Wright's moved on to 79 now. Brown's on 59 and has the strike. Carberry walks to the crease, and this is driven straight to Smith at mid wicket. No run. End of the over. 244 for 5.
116 being put on by this pair now, and a top quality partnership, particularly for the 6th wicket and at the stage of the game that it was at the time. 128 for 5 when Sussex kicked off early this morning. The first hour they were 22 for 3. Then had a good partnership with Kachopra and Joyce, and Hampshire picked up 2 quick wickets, 128 for 5, and looking good. But certainly the game being picked up here by Sussex.
And Briggs resumes from the northern end there. Wright plays defensively into the leg side. Will Smith must be wondering what he's done wrong not to get a bowl, Simon.
Yes, good point. Because he did bowl quite a bit last season, didn't he?
In 1-day cricket, yeah. And this is pushed square on the leg side by Wright, but too near Dawson to risk a single.
Didn't he even open in the short form of the game, John?
I think so.
Yeah.
Briggs round the wicket again to Wright, and this time they do get a run. I'm not sure if it's off the bat. No, it's a bye. Not even off the pad. Down the leg side there, probably came off Adam Wheater's gloves because it didn't travel very far, did it?
No.
Not been a lot of extras, that's only 7 now. Out of 245 for 5, and here's Briggs again. And again, well, I say again, this is Brown on strike now, but he tries to play the same shot that Wright was looking to play, but again brings Dawson into play again. No run. Briggs bowls. And this is pushed away more successfully by Brown this time, past Dawson and the square leg umpire for a single. Lance Briggs again getting through this over quite rapidly, isn't he? Here he is again. Oh, and this is a bit of luck there for Wright, who plays a square cut, and the ball goes in the air, but too high and wide of James Tomlinson, and it's gone over the boundary for 4, but possibly his first full shot.
I say he flat batted that almost, didn't he, outside the off stump, John?
Yeah, he had to reach a long way for it.
Yeah.
It was an ugly shot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's the end of the over, and it brought the 250 up.
Wonder if we
And
could
took Luke right on to 83.
Wonder if we could ask Roy over the last 10 overs, Roy, how many 4s? Has there been at least 1 4 every over for how long? Are you able to tell that from your master book? So there's been a 4, I can remember the last 3 overs. No? No.
Well, we've got a bowling change at the pavilion end. It looks like Sean Irvine coming back on to bowl.
I thought you were going to say Will Smith there for a second, and I thought they've heard you.
No, that's a 7 on his back, not a 2. Will Smith's taken the pads off now. He's just giving them to one of the many Hampshire substitutes.
Who's in blue trainers.
With a red tabard on. Yeah, I think Luke Wright is just chastising himself at the moment there, Simon, for during the lull in play for nearly getting out there, because obviously there's a century up for the grabs, isn't there?
Yeah, he would have been seriously unhappy with himself, wouldn't he, if he'd have got out to that ball, or and that shot, I should say, particularly. But it was a poor ball.
Well, he is a good professional, isn't he?
Yeah.
Here's Irvine, right arm over the wicket, medium fast, and that stopped in the covers. Rather a slow motion dive there by Gareth Berg, but did the job.
Irvine's earned his keep today, John. How many overs he's bowled? Let me see, number 7. This is 10th over. 18. Who's old Briggs has bowled 18. Dawson 9.
Irvine bowls again, and it's quite a full ball played by Ben Brown to extra cover. Berg again, but this time straight to him.
Tomlinson doing a little bit of warming up, John.
Well, they haven't been shorter bowlers today, have they? Just been a bit shorter wickets in the latter part of the day, but they've used 8 bowlers. Irvine again, and this is driven with great purpose, and it reaches the boundary before it can be cut off by one of the substitutes. He's got 41 on his back. Takes Brown on to 64 now, and he'll be also harbouring thoughts of a century. 16 overs left after this one. It's enough time for him to do it tonight. That one's driven with less intent and power.
Yes.
To Vince at mid-off, no run.
Certainly you'd expect Wright, if he doesn't make a silly error or there's special ball to get to his ton. If Brown gets there as well, John. Wow.
Yeah. Here's Irvine. And it's a good ball. Played back to the bowler. Yes, Luke Wright doesn't exactly hate batting at the Ageas Bowl, does he?
No, it's got to go.
It's not his least favourite ground,
no,
is it?
One of his grounds to play on. He won't think, I'm up for that one, put my name on the list. Yeah.
Surprised he hasn't signed for Hampshire, really. He enjoys batting here so much, doesn't he? Irvine runs in. And that cramped Ben Brown a little bit. Decent over there from Sean Irvine. 254 for 5 now. Wright still on 83 and Brown on 64.
80 overs, John. New ball. Potentially, anyway.
That's right, yeah.
Whether they would take it or not, I know.
Yeah, I've just seen the old ball thrown off the pitch, Simon, so... and that's why James Tomlinson was
there you go.
warming up.
Yeah, we got it, didn't we?
Interestingly enough, Russell Evans is now holding the ball up. I thought for a moment whether...
He's doing a Malinga.
Well, I was thinking of going to move the side screen. I thought he's a left-handed bowler. That's me thinking like a club cricketer there, isn't it? He was just showing it to the scorers, of course.
I think you were thinking like an umpire.
Maybe.
Maybe. And who else is warming up in the far distance?
Anyway, they've got the new ball. Tomlinson's going to bowl the first ball with it. 80 overs having been bowled. Taking the first opportunity, and they've also still got that buffer of 4 plus 4 overs. They've now bowled 4 overs still, 4 more than they needed to at this stage. And Wright is on strike. And a bit of lift from Tomlinson there. That took Luke Wright by surprise there, and I think he took his bottom hand off the bat handle, and he now goes out of his ground to do a little bit of gardening.
I wonder who did gardening for the first time, came up with the word.
Was Alan Titchmarsh ever a cricket commentator? Percy Thrower. No, he got banned, didn't he? He got banned. Illegal action, didn't he? Here's Tomlinson. And this is square cut by Wright. Too much room there. Good stop by Carberry. Down at deep cover stroke third man there. 2 runs for Wright.
Just because our very good friend and the octogenarian commentator is no longer with us for the day because of an injury, and we hope he's on the road to recovery, there's no need for you to assume the mantle of his joke telling. And I'm going joke telling.
John's jokes aren't as good as that one.
Percy Thrower. Oh goodness, got banned.
Didn't he play for Sri Lanka?
Oh.
And this ball is played straight to extra cover by Luke right there off the back foot. Gave himself a bit of room to play that last shot that went down to third man, and he did there as well. You know, so it's Nasser Hussain, I think, his favourite phrase now is staying leg side of the ball, isn't it? Yeah. He's a sort of Ron Atkinson of cricket, isn't he?
What do you mean with his gold?
With his cliches. And that ball, better one from Tomlinson, played straight to mid-on there by Luke Wright.
Luke Wright 85, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Ben Brown 64, 256 for 5. 15 overs remaining after this.
Now, if John Young was here, he'd be trotting out his dreadful joke about Luke Wright being a sort of traffic signal, wouldn't he? No shot at all from Wright to this ball.
You've been with him too long.
Yes.
That's right. I like that. That's right, right. Don't you write me right? Oh dear. Well, I tell you what, Luke Wright has batted all right today. Unfortunately, from a Hampshire perspective.
Tomlinson again. And this is driven wide of mid-on. Wright initially starts running, but then cancels. It's the end of the over. 256 for 5. Wright's on 85. Brown's on 64. I think it's time for a change of commentary.
Yeah, I'm going to vacate.
Martin Pritchard looks interested.
All right, well, you stay there while Martin... Oh, all right, I'll stay here then while Martin settles in beside me. And I'm thinking who else is going to be the other Simon. Mine, Simon after Simon. So we'll let Martin get hold of the microphone, which he has, and I'll vacate for young Simon Vincent, the technological guru.
Thanks, Simon. And this could be an interesting stint here for Hampshire. Just feel they've been going through the motions the last half an hour or so, very much playing for the second new ball. If they get a few wickets now, it'll be a tactic well worth it. Sean Irvine for the second time today taking a new ball as he bowls a full delivery, and that's dug out nicely by Ben Brown, who's moved on to 64. Luke Wright on 85. And even my maths can just about tell you that these two have now exactly doubled the score. They came together at 128 for 5, and now it's 256 for 5. So a decent partnership by these two. So Irvine back to his mark, bowls again, a very full delivery, good economical bowling by Irvine in his earlier spells, and seen him bowl a good bouncer in previous years, but very much he's been trying to bowl the ball up to the bat and let it do the work. And it's a good comeback here, those from Sussex, from 22 for 3 now to 256 for 5 as Irvine comes in and bowls, and that's chopped away down on the leg side. It's fielded, and there's just 1 run. So Brown goes on to 65, White 85, and these two then have a little chat. White will have an eye on 100, as I said earlier. Got 100 on his last appearance here at the Ageas Bowl back in July last year, when he got 100 in a losing 2020 contest. Always a huge achievement there in so little time. And Irvine bowls and shouldered arms by White, and that one goes through to the keeper, Adam Wheater. And there's no run. So Hampshire not used Sean Irvine as an opening bowler before, but without Andre Adams and Jackson Bird for this first game of the season, just having to shuffle the pack a little bit as Irvine then comes in again to bowl, and again up to the bat, and White back onto his stumps, and there's no run.
What do you suppose the thinking is, Martin, in having Irvine as the opening bowler when you've got Chris Wood is clearly your quickest?
Yeah, surprised by that, because of course Chris Wood had a very good end to the season. Whilst he was in and out of the county team, towards the end he was in the team when there was no Sean Abbott, as Sean Irvine comes in and bowls, and that's outside the off stump, and nicely played by White. But that finds the man at mid-off. And there's no one. Yeah, I'm surprised by that. Whether it was felt that Irvine would that was a way of sharing out the bowlers. I don't know. I can't answer the question. I've got to be honest. It's just a surprise. Irvine has bowled very tightly. He's just gone for 2 runs and over. But of course, you do want your opening bowlers to get wickets. You'd rather them get 2 wickets and give a few away. But so yeah, 257 for 5 now. The score's moved on to White on 85, Brown on 65. James Tomlinson to continue. He's bowled 15 overs today. Chris Wood, as Simon was mentioned, he's just bowled 10 overs today. So I'd imagine he'll be on soon. As Tomlinson bowls and dug out nicely by Ben Brown, plays it into the offside, and there's no run.
I mean, I'm just guessing here. I don't know how quick Gareth Berg is, but I'm guessing Gareth Berg is probably quicker than Sean Irvine as well. So, you know, just just strikes me as being a bit unusual, the idea. And you know, we saw Gareth Berg earlier, didn't we? Get that bouncer in.
And Tomlinson, oh, that's a lovely shot. He's played that shot a few times now, Ben Brown. Almost a sort of a right-handed Lara-esque shot as he sort of got over the ball, flicked it to the leg side. Short of a length, probably deserved it, but really well played there by Ben Brown, who's now moved on to 69, and this Sussex score is starting to look very dangerous at 2-6-1 for 5. Vital hour of play for Hampshire now to get amongst these lower order batsmen, as again Brown runs quickly as he turns it again down to fine leg. Chris Wood, who's just watching Chris Wood, looks fit, looks moving, and we would have thought that I'd imagine that with 14 overs or an hour's play we might actually get over 96 today. I'm sure they'll be looking to give their 4 quicker bowlers a few overs each in this remaining session as Tomlinson bowls, and again Luke White picks that one out, plays it on the leg side. It's fielded, there's no run.
He has got Luke Wright out a couple of times before, Sean Irvine. I'm just trying to think of all the possible combinations of why it might be. He got him out in 2012 when Wright had made 122 against us. That was caught by Danny Briggs.
As Tomlinson comes in and bowls, and that one is a little wide of the mark and goes through to the keeper.
Yeah, he's got him out. He's got him out in 2012. There's another one here. Don't have any more details on. It's a couple of times in his career, but there's nothing. It's not like he's got the got the Indian sign over him or anything like that.
As Tomlinson then comes in to bowl, and this is turned away on the leg side by Luke Wright. Goes for 1, runs a second, played just backward of square on the leg side, and that's the end of the over. So that's the end of Tomlinson's over, and I keep trying to bring some bad luck to these Sussex batsmen. Let's see if I can try this one. White moves on to 87, the Australian unlucky number. Ben Brown is on 7, and these two going very nicely. 2-6-4 for 5. Very professional partnership this, and really pulling Sussex back at 128 for 5. Hampshire would have been hoping to have got all of the Sussex wickets out by now, if not a little earlier. But there's still a lot of work to be done. This is a hard opening for Hampshire in the First Division as Irvine bowls this next delivery, and that's turned nicely on the offside by Ben Brown, and that's fielded on the offside boundary, and there's just a single. So vigorously shining of the ball being passed to Sean Irvine, and at brisk medium comes into bowl from the pavilion end, bowls and flicked away on the leg side, and just out of my view. I had to get up, but I can see the umpires signalling a boundary there, so Luke White is very quickly off the Australian unlucky number of 87, and now he's into the nervous 90s. Luke White's on 91, but he doesn't strike me as somebody who might particularly suffer from the nervous 90. Very confident batsman, very watchful, and doing very well, and pulling his team around, and sure he's a player with something to prove, having been omitted from the World Cup squad recently. As Irvine comes in and bowls, and oh, that's a beautiful shot. That's one of the shots of the day by Luke White. Sometimes he's unconventional and a baseball's type of hit, but that's just a perfect cover drive by Luke White. Admired that. Enjoy that, Simon?
I did indeed, and actually Luke Wright, this is the 5th time Luke Wright's made it to the 90s against Hampshire. On 3 of the previous 4 occasions he's gone past the 100, We did, however, get him out on 98 in 2007.
Irving comes in and bowls, and I was looking towards the boundary there as he went to cut that one square of the wicket, went into the ground, and that was fielded, so there's no run there. But yeah, Wright's moved on from 91 to 95. Yeah, so a good record for Luke Wright against Hampshire, as Simon was saying, and Hampshire will be trying to get him out for a second time in the 90s as Irving bowls and squirted out on the offside, and that's a good run there. Good call by Brown and a quick run by Wright, and so he moves on to 96. Score moves on to 274 for 5. Brown on 71, and these two will be aiming to see off this second new ball, stay till the end, and that could put Hampshire under a lot of pressure tomorrow morning as Irving comes in and bowls, and again up to the bat nicely, played out on the offside, and that's the end of the over. That's the end of the 83rd over, and the scoring rate has accelerated for much of the morning. It was only around about 2 runs and over, but from 84 overs now the score has gone up to 274 for 5.
And of course, slightly unusually, of course, perhaps the taking of the new ball is exactly what Wright would have wanted. You know, he's seen a lot, around the world as being something of a limited overs specialist. He plays a lot of 2020 around the world. He played in the Big Bash in Australia, and so he's used to facing the shiny, quick new ball, the hard ball, and he likes using the pace on the ball to get enough purchase to try and score the boundaries. And you've seen that in the last 4 overs since we've taken the new ball. He's really started throwing the bat at it and started bringing up a lot of boundaries. So perhaps slightly unusually, it's working in his favour particularly.
Yeah, so there's a bit of head scratching going on, and a bit of a team meeting at the moment. James Vince in sort of temporary charge as Jimmy Adams went off injured. Dave Allen was telling me he saw him sort of with his boot off. Didn't look over injured, but probably told not to appear on the pitch for the rest of the day. So his first delivery by Tomlinson is played out by Wright onto the leg side, and there's no run.
Yeah,
so
looking at the overs since certainly the last 2 overs. The last one went for 10, and the one previous to that went for 7. So you've seen that since the new ball was taken, it's clearly run rate is up considerably. We're now at 3.26 runs and over.
So Tomlinson then from the northern end comes into bowl, left arm, and he's edged, and he's gone. He's gone.
And it's Liam Dawson.
That's Liam Dawson who's caught it. I think there was a juggle there, and Luke Wright's not happy, and he's
really not happy.
Hits his glove, then he looks to calm himself down a little bit. But how disappointing will that be? Luke Wright, for the second time against Hampshire, has got out in the 90s, in the nervous 90s, and he's edged to Liam Dawson, who's taken it, I think, with a bit of a juggle, but he's taken it. And a warm applause here. Very entertaining innings by Luke Wright, but a vital wicket for Hampshire with 12 overs to go today at least. They've got the near to his 100, 96 for Luke Wright. And
of course, he's fallen just 4 runs short of the 150 partnership. So,
indeed. So
it's a good thing we jinxed him.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, he'll be very disappointed because when Luke Wright gets 100, he often gets big hundreds, and he gets them quickly. And he will know that with a little bit of a tail. Shazad is coming in now for his debut. Ajmal Shazad has played for England at Yorkshire, lost a little form, played for Notts for a couple of seasons, and he's moved down to Sussex from Notts, but still a bowler that I've rated, and not a bad bat. I think number 8 sort of the correct position for him, so he can bat Ajmal Shazad. But this is a sort of situation that bowlers might not be so keen to come in at, when they know at the very best they will see the day out and be 15, 20 not out, and it's more to be lost than to be gained. So it'll be interesting to see how Sussex play this one from here. At 5 down, they would have been hoping that Wright and Brown would stay to the end, and they could have really have got a big score on the board. But well, the slips are in now. 3 slips and a gully as Tomlinson comes in and bowls, and Shazad pulls the bat away, and that is allowed to go to Adam Wheater. Looks a spring in the Hampshire step at the moment, Simon.
Yeah, it looks. Well, that's obviously going to give him a massive amount of confidence, isn't it? Taking somebody out in the 90s is always a bonus, isn't it? And quickly after the new ball as well. It's going to be really interesting to see Shazad and Timul Mills both playing for Sussex this season, as this is just fielded out into the onside by Shazad.
Yes, potentially it's given them one of the quicker attacks in the division, and yeah, I'm a big believer that championships are sort of partly won in April these days, with so many games early on. When in the last couple of years, where the weather has been good, there's been a chance to get some results going. So Hampshire fighting back here. Shazad plays it, or misses it rather. Went to play it out on the offside, but that went straight through to Adam Wheater. So James Tomlinson will just fancy his chances of adding to his 2 wickets. The Hampshire veteran opening bowler so really held this attack together for a number of years now, James Tomlinson. A very popular figure as he comes in, and Shazad plays that out onto the offside, and again Briggs and Carberry both go very quickly for the ball. It's definite spring in the step, and Sussex, I'm sure, will be looking to play this one out with about 45 minutes to go. 85 overs gone now, so they might well get above the 96, which would be a rarity in this competition. Just looking as there's a change about to occur, and Gareth Berg, who had the dream start this morning, where he got a wicket with his first ball for Hampshire, and also a second in the first over of his second over, and he's coming on to bowl from the pavilion end. Come down to Hampshire this season from Middlesex, had a injury plagued season, but a good servant for Middlesex over a number of years. South African born, but UK allowed to play for Middlesex because of residency, as Berg comes in and bowls, and good delivery first up, and nicely played by Brown onto the leg side, and there's no run. And again, some more vigorous polishing. This new ball is just 5 overs old, and yeah, vital 3/4 of an hour this, Simon, in this game, I would say.
Absolutely, yeah. You're definitely giving it to Hampshire in terms of who was winning it after the first session, and probably a little bit into the second as well, but ever since then it's definitely swung back towards Sussex.
Berg then comes in, right arm over the wicket, and Brown again very correctly forward, plays that out on the offside, and
of course very literally both teams have the two bonus points at the moment, so it is kind of all square, and it sort of feels that way at this point. It feels like if Sussex can get to the end of the day without any more wickets lost, perhaps get up towards around about the 300, they'll be very much in control, but a couple of wickets now for Hampshire really spins it back in their way.
And this next delivery by Berg outside the off stump, and again Brown, who's been quite aggressive in his play, scored his runs off 99 deliveries, 71, so he's scoring at 71 runs per 100 ball, which is the highest, even higher than Luke Wright, who's known for his aggression. But you can see how Ben Brown realises the situation, and he will take up the responsibility now. He'll want to take the lower order batsman through to the close. As this next delivery from Berg, full delivery, and slightly dug out there by Ben Brown. Berg looks down the wicket, gives him a little bit of a glance, and this has been a promising debut by Berg. Good signing, especially with a couple of injuries, and very much had to sort of step up the pecking order today. So as Berg comes in and bowls, and again very accurate up to the bat, and Berg just looking to played away by Brown rather. So Berg 15 overs, 3 maidens, 2 for 43, so decent economy beneath the average for the day. 3.2 is the average score for Sussex. So Berg then comes into bowl, right arm over, and again Brown very watchful, and that is played out onto the leg side. Berg takes his jumper from umpire Alex Wharf and his cap, and at the end of what will be the 86th over, Sussex have moved on to 274 for 6. Shazad not yet off the mark, and Ben Brown on 71.
Got a decent strike rate today, Ben Brown. He's up at 66 plus. So he is, considering he's been out there for quite a long time now. It's been, how long has he been out there for? I'm talking 2 hours, minimum 2 hours and a little bit, 2 hours and 20 minutes or so. And given that he's been scoring at 66, it's he's not been hanging about.
So next over then, bowled from the northern end by James Tomlinson, and that's slightly wide of the mark, and Wheater has to go slightly forward to his right to pick up that delivery. So Shazad lets that one go, just getting his eye in, and James Tomlinson, I'm sure, will just want to test the new batsman, who'll not have his eye in yet, early season. As Tomlinson then back to his mark, bowls, and again shouldered arms a little closer to the stumps there, but Shazad happy with the line of that ball, and allows that to go through to umpire Wheater, and there's no run. So Tomlinson turns to his mark, 10-15 metre run up, comes bowls short of a length, and that's turned away down to the man at fine leg, who feels well. That's Chris Wood, who I would have thought would be on before the close. He might just get 4 or 5 overs before the close, and he fields, and that's just a single. 275 for 6. So Shazad's off the mark with that shot, and that brings Ben Brown, who's on 71, down to face. So he's just taken a mark there. Has not been down this end for a little while, since the fall of the wicket of Luke Wright. And Tomlinson then left arm over, comes in, bowls, and that's short of a length. And I was looking to the boundary, but actually he'd missed that. I thought that was down the leg side. I thought Brown had got a little tickle on that, but that one went through to Adam Wheater, and there's no run. So James Vince fields the ball. He's in temporary charge as Jimmy Adams off the pitch. It's not an unusual thing for James Vince as 2020 captain. He's well used to doing this.
Of course, he's been given the 50 over captaincy this season as well, hasn't he?
Indeed, yes. As this next one squirms past Michael Carberry, so that's fielded by Will Smith, who does well. So that's 2 more runs to Ben Brown. Nice shot there, just backward a square, and got past Michael Carberry, who's one of the better fielders in the Hampshire team. Very fit man. Good to see him. Very much enjoyed watching some of his performances for Perth Scorchers over the winter. Had a decent time in the Big Bash League. as Tomlinson comes in again, and that's a nice shot. A very attractive shot there by Ben Brown, but he plays that straight along the ground to the man at mid-off, and that's the end of the over. So the end of the 87th over, and the Sussex score has gone on to 277 for 6.
I think I'm right in saying that Michael Carberry and the Perth Scorchers actually won the Big Bash, didn't they?
Indeed, and I think after he started off a little slowly and he was opening, and then he came down the order, and certainly I remember a couple of good knocks from him coming in at number 4, number 5, where he helped win the match. And I know I read in the press that he was a bit disappointed not to get an IPL contract, but that would have certainly weakened the Hampshire team if Michael Carberry had been away. As Gareth Berg then continues, and that's short of a length, but Shazad will be disappointed there that he seemed to be playing the correct shot but just didn't get hold of it, mistimed his pull, and Michael Carberry fielded in about 30 metres out on the leg side, didn't have to work too hard to pick that delivery up.
And I think Michael Carberry, he's a big influence in that dressing room. He's been there for a long time. He's a charismatic guy, so it's not just his runs that Hampshire would have missed if he was at the IPL.
As Berg bowls, and again it's cut into the ground by Shazad, and there's no run there. Yes, and just as Michael Carberry really was floundering with his previous counties, came from Surrey after a time at Kent, I'm sure Hampshire will be hoping that people like Gareth Berg, getting a fresh start, and will follow and really achieve well at the club. As he comes in again to bowl, and that's short of a length on the offside, and Shazad, who's been sort of lining up a few, hits that one well, cuts it away, and that's a boundary. So Shazad goes from 1 to 5, and the score goes up from 277 to 281 for 6.
Just going back to James Vince as the 50 over captain, I was one of the I was one of a few people I know that sort of had a few raised eyebrows when he was appointed 2020 captain last season, but did a very good job. Didn't appear to hinder him too much. Scored 1,500 runs, didn't he, in the championship? So and did well in the other competitions as well. So it's clearly the responsibility didn't weigh too heavily on his shoulders, and I think he's probably earned his 50 over captaincy this year.
Most definitely, as Berg continues, and this next delivery is close into Shazad. He cuts that down into the ground, and there's no run. I think most people feel that this is a key year for James Vince, with lots of changes at England level, and obviously there'll be new personnel at the top, and just hoping that James Vince will be one of the people who are seen as taking England forward. As Berg bowls shouldered arms to Shazad, and that one goes through to Adam Wheater.
How likely is it, do you think, that James Vince might get a call up for the England side? I mean, there's a lot of talk about whether Kevin Peterson back at Surrey, changes at the top with Downton going, etc, 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 whether there might be a slot for Kevin Peterson in the England side. Of course, he bats at 4, Vince bats at 4. There's if Kevin Peterson has burnt all his bridges, as some expect he has, then bouncer.
Yeah, bouncer by Berg. He got one over the head of Wheater earlier, but Wheater takes that one. That's the end of the over. 88 overs bowled now, 281 for 6. The score's gone up to 73 for Brown, Shazad on 5. I think there's always a key position at sort of about number 4 for a flamboyant player. Peterson clearly played that role. There was some sort of thought that maybe Owen Morgan might be the man, but it'll be interesting. I think they've got solidity with Alistair Cook, and now that Jonathan Trott is back in the team. But I think there's always an opening for somebody who can be a little bit flamboyant. Ian Bell is a fine cricketer and probably at his peak at the moment. But it may not be a bad time to bring in somebody, and maybe the series against New Zealand at home after the West Indies series could be a time that they may just try somebody before, of course, the Ashes series start.
I think the problem, of course, is that there are quite a lot of young, promising English batsmen around, aren't there? With
Indeed.
Hales at Nottinghamshire as well.
And this next delivery is cut away nicely by Ben Brown. Runs one, and throw coming in from the boundary allows him to run a second. Yes, I think Hales is very much regarded as a one-day cricketer, and I'm not sure if he would be looked as a potential Test player.
And an opener, of course.
And yes, indeed. As Tomlinson then comes in again to bowl round the wicket. Tomlinson in this over, and Brown plays that out nicely on the offside, and there's no run.
James Taylor actually was the one I was thinking of. He was he was the player I was thinking of. And he where does he bat for Nottingham? He must be bat around about 4.
Yeah, he bats around about 4. I was pleased to see James Taylor in the team. He played one of the best one-day innings I saw on this ground 2 or 3 seasons ago, as Tomlinson comes in again, and Brown plays that flick to leg again. Didn't get a boundary this time. Finds Chris Wood down at fine leg, and there's just a single.
Yeah, it was one of the 40 over games, wasn't it? He came in and
it was immaculate innings. He scored a big 100 for Notts when it looked as though they were going to get barely over 200, and I think he took them up to about 270, 280 or something. And it was an incredible knock, and I've seen him a few times on the television doing that as well, as Tomlinson comes in and bowls, and again Tomlinson will be a bit disappointed. He's just put that on the legs of Shazad, and that's an easy delivery for Shazad to play away for a single. So he moves on to 6, and Brown on to 76. So yes, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people being sat down making their selections for the West Indies series, the New Zealand series, and Australia, South Africa, of course. A lot of Test matches, as we've been saying, coming up. Tomlinson bowls, and Brown plays that out nicely on the offside, and there's no run. So Tomlinson then back to the mark, comes in, and I thought he got an edge there, but he looks behind him. He'd left that delivery at Ben Brown, and that went through to Adam Wheater. So that is the end of the 90th over. So Simon Vincent has just left us. Jeff Levick has come in. So at the end of the 90th over, Jeff will be taking over with the news that Sussex are 285 for 6. Shazad is on 6, and Ben Brown is on 76.
And thank you very much indeed, Martin, and good evening everybody. A very pleasant evening here at the Ageas Bowl, and with officially another 7 overs to go, but I suspect a little bit more than that because we finish at 6 o'clock. We've now got a change of bowling from the pavilion end, and Chris Wood, who's only bowled 10 overs this first day of the season, he spent some time off, I think, visiting the physio, so let's hope he's okay. Comes in to bowl to Shazad outside the off stump, and there's no run.
So is this Shazad's, sorry, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Simon Donohoe back again. Am I right in thinking this is Shazad's 4th county? Have we got Lancashire,
I think you're right.
Yorkshire,
there, yeah.
Yorkshire, Lancashire, Notts?
Yeah.
Is that right?
And now Sussex. He only goes to the top ones. He's a quick bowler.
Oh, not offered a shot and a loud appeal.
No shot, big appeal.
Big appeal.
Big appeal.
Wow, Jeff.
Everybody's looking, but the umpire is unmoved.
I don't think there's been an LBW decision today, and there's been certainly 6+ good appeals.
Well, you know, it's always interesting, Simon, when you say that, when we're looking from wide mid-on to see how good they are. He'd have to bring the ball back quite a long way, bowling left arm over to get that one.
You would.
But certainly one would have hoped that would have been from a Hampshire point of view.
Oh, he's done it again.
And that was interesting.
No shot.
No shot played.
He's looking for a single.
Well, let him run, and then he can run himself out. And it's always an interesting one, that if there's no shot played and the umpire's going to call dead ball, the batsmen are allowed to go for one run, but if one of them's run out, it's his own fault.
That's out, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And quite interesting. So I think from Wood's reaction there, he feels that maybe he was hard done to by that LBW decision. He's certainly running in with purpose at the moment, and Shavad turns that one off his hip, and Carberry moves from mid-wicket to square leg, stops the ball, but there is one run, and the score moves on to 286 for 6.
Interesting you're saying about Woodwork running in with purpose, Jeff, because I was watching from side on earlier, and he seriously is running in quickly. I don't recall him being that quick in his run-up before. I saw it as being more measured, but he's sprinting in, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's working very hard at it. I have heard it said, I can't remember who it was, talking about the England one-day team and suggesting that Chris Wood was the sort of player who should be making that team. So he certainly bowls extremely well and very intelligently in one-day cricket. And he's not bad with the bat either.
No. What sort of speed do you reckon he is then? Is he mid-80s?
Don't think he hasn't been up to now. I think he's been
Right.
mid-70s to 80. But he certainly looks to be bowling a little bit quicker at the moment, although he bowls that ball wide of the off stump.
I tell you what, if Brown had have hit that, he'd have been, because that was well wide, Jeff.
It was the sort of ball that I think in a one-day game would have been a wide. But that's the end of the over. That was the 90th over. 6 officially remaining. And interesting is how umpires help the players these days. The umpire at the northern end has gone to get Tomlinson's sweater, so he's at least 20 yards from the stumps. There's the umpire who was at the bowler's end at square leg is also 20 plus yards from the stumps, so it looks as if there's no control on the game at all. And that of course is an overstatement.
That's an umpire talking to you, listeners. That's an umpire talking. I don't know if when I was on previously I mentioned an ambulance turn up, and sadly that ambulance is still here. It hasn't yet made a return journey with or without a patient.
Tomlinson in again outside the off stump. Shazad. It's almost like Rimsky-Korsakov, isn't it?
I was thinking of, yes.
Plays no shot, and there is no run. Yes, I saw the staff go into the hotel, so presumably something in the hotel has happened.
Let's fingers crossed all is well.
Yeah. So,
and that you get another couple of wickets here, Mr. Levick. Have you got a wicket today?
Yes, I got 2 actually.
Oh.
There, Shazad pushed the ball short. Carberry went after the ball, went for a quick throw. Certainly they had to scamper through to get the run.
Yeah, that was the first time I've seen Carberry go close to something today. They've taken a couple to him on occasions when I thought there was only going to be a single, but they were comfortably in both times. That was a little bit of pressure on there.
Yes, indeed. And Tomlinson, who's bowled a lot of overs today, now on his 20th over, bowls. Brown takes that neatly off his hip, pushes it wide of mid-on, where it's fielded by, I think, not Will Smith, must be Berg, I think.
Yeah, Berg has bowled 17 overs, so certainly Tomlinson and Berg have. Oh, and who's that? 19. Danny Briggs has bowled 18. Yeah.
So it's been spread around. We've had eight Hampshire bowlers today. As I think you may have said earlier, that Will Smith must be feeling a little bit upset that he hasn't been asked to bowl.
Yes,
because he was remarkably successful last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, bad shoulder maybe.
Bowling his gentle off spin, but still very effectively. And at this stage, still quite an attacking field that Tom's bowling to. 2 slips, 2 gullies really.
Yeah.
And a point.
2 gullies is unusual, Jeff.
It is. Oh, and Shazad goes to turn that ball. Is halfway down the pitch looking for a run, but then found he missed it and it hit him on the hip.
He looks like a cat on hot bricks at the moment, doesn't he?
He does a bit.
He's jumping about.
Yeah. It's interesting. With Quick, we call Jimmy Tomlinson Quick bowling to Shazad, who could well get his own back as he comes in again, bowls to Shazad. And I was hearing that Richie Benno, the recently departed wonderful great commentator, once made a comment of the old fast bowlers mantra of not bowling at the other fast bowler, and Lindwall apparently bowled a very quick ball
at Tyson.
At Tyson, hit him on the head, and nobody made a comment. Tyson took 10 wickets in the match when he was there.
Or the second, the follow-up match.
That's right.
Yeah.
And when Benno was asked about it, he said that was a mistake, and was then quiet for 30 seconds and said that was a very big mistake, which is a wonderful bit of commentating.
Yeah, it
as
is.
we now have Chris Wood in again, bowling wide of the off stump. A big flail of the bat from Ben Brown.
Same shot as last, same ball, same shot.
Yeah. I think he's going for it tonight.
Well, he's 23, 77, but they're irrational shots at this stage, aren't they?
They are. I think probably he's saying, well, we are now in the tail, and we need to score runs as quickly as we can. So let's get what we can while the team are quiet.
It's getting
tired. And that ball outside the leg stump, just tucked round the corner neatly by Brown for 4 runs. James Tomlinson goes gently after the ball, picks it up in front of the advertising hoardings and throws it gently back, and the score moves on to 292 and Brown on to 81.
Yeah, 19 required then from Brown to be the first centurion of this season at the Ageas anyway.
Yes, we don't know whether anybody has done it anywhere else. And he fences at that ball from Wood outside the off stump. Whether he withdrew the bat, I suspect he didn't. It goes through and is taken by Wheaton. That, of course, actually, with first-class cricket now, the university teams are now first-class games. Of course, we had Carberry score 140, and so did Vince in the first game. And Adams carried on last season's situation, got 98, managed to get himself out in the 90s. And
yeah, I'd forgotten they could quite count as first class.
And Wood in again, a good ball. Although the way Wood pulled up after that one, I think he may have tweaked a muscle. He's carrying, I think, a suspect knee for the last couple of seasons.
That was at the Parks, though, wasn't it, Jeff?
No, it was here.
Oh, it was here, was it? I didn't
was,
realise
yes.
that. What, last week?
Yep.
Did you come and watch?
I was here, but I wasn't actually watching. I was involved in a very high-powered meeting with the England and Wales Cricket Board, who were assessing the ability of Hampshire Cricket Board to be a high-performing cricket board, as we have Wood coming in to bowl again, pushes Brown back onto the back foot, he plays it gently out to extra cover, and there's no run.
When you say the Hampshire Board, you mean the county board, or you mean your disability, the great work you do in the disability arena?
It's one of the things we were talking about is the fact that it's probably the wrong name. The Hampshire Cricket Board looks after all recreational cricket within the county, as opposed to the professional cricket, which of course is looked after by Hampshire County Cricket Club.
Right.
And,
right, slightly confusing. My apologies.
Oh,
it's gone.
Crikey O'Reilly, that was
Must
a
have been
ball
close.
outside the off stump. Brown flailed at it. It went over Carberry's head, who took not Carberry's head, Berg's head, I think it was.
Yeah, Berg.
Jumped full tilt.
That would have made his day, wouldn't it, if he'd caught that?
And the score now moves on to 296 and Brown on to 85.
With 5 overs remaining.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see whether Brown actually makes it to 100 tonight.
if he goes on like this over, he'll be comfortably there. We shall see. We shall see.
And now Tomlinson's come off, and we have Danny Briggs back into the attack. So Briggs certainly getting plenty of overs as a slow bowler in this first game.
Well, they're going to go over the 96. We might get 98 overs in tonight. If Briggs, who's on with Wood this end, yeah, it could be. Certainly get. Well, we'll be. Oh, no. We won't be far out, will we? It'll be.
Yeah, well, they're having a meeting now to get. And
maybe 97 if we're lucky, stroke unlucky.
Yeah.
But if you were Ben Brown now, you'd want to do it while you were fresh, in terms of still in, as opposed to having to start tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Tomorrow morning, presumably the pitch will sweat a little bit underneath the covers.
Yeah.
And there should be a little bit of juice in it again. As Briggs comes into bowl to Shazad, who leans forward and pushes it back to Danny Briggs. He's moving that bit slower than he was earlier on, isn't he? Don't think he'll get through the over quite as quickly as he was when he first came on to bowl. But he has bowled now.
This is his 19th
over, and he's only given away 49 runs, so he's less than 3 and over. So he's been quite economical. Although Luke Wright and Kachopa had a go at him in the middle of his first spell, and Briggs comes in again. Full pitch ball. Shazad hits a pleasant looking cover drive, but it's fielded by Carberry at extra cover, and there's no run. Briggs turns and comes in again, and that ball's down the leg side.
4 runs.
It is going for
Stopped.
Brilliantly stopped by, I think, Wood down at the bottom there.
Well, he didn't show any signs of the knee or a pull muscle there, did he?
No.
He chased that all the way, followed by Dawson, I think.
Yeah. You can always follow them because they're the ones in the red shoes, aren't they?
The group corporate colours.
That's right. I was
Off the
talking
back
about
of the lorry.
That's right. I was talking about the red shoes and thinking it was Margot Fontaine, but of course it wasn't Margot Fontaine in the film. It was Moira Shearer, wasn't it?
I'll take your word for that. It's,
you're too young to have seen the film.
You've elevated me into.
But there was
don't
another.
forget, you were a man of the 30s.
Yeah. Another one of those situations where the red shoes was, of course, shot in black and white, and that's a ball that is up to the bat, pushed back to Danny Briggs, who fields quite comfortably, and there's no run. And the score is now on 299. Everybody's sweating on will this be?
Oh!
And that nipped through. It must have been just over the top of the stumps. Wheater took the bails off, and that was very nearly a wicket. That's the second time that Danny Briggs got a ball to fizz. He got a wicket earlier on with Ed Joyce.
Brown in the last 2-3 overs is, I won't say led a charmed life, but he's flashed at a couple outside the off stump. The one that went over Bird's head. Bird's head, was it Bird?
Berg, yes.
Berg's head. And that one then, when he could have been bowled.
Well, I guess he's sweating on that situation. Will I get to 100 tonight?
3 to go, and the time is 12 minutes to go. This is still Woods to bowl, and I think it's Vince who's continuing to act as skipper in Adams' absence from the playing field.
Yes, I missed that. I was just walking around at the back of the pavilion at that particular moment. I gather he
chased the ball, which he ended up, to cut a long story short, going into the advertising hoardings, crashed into them, lay still for a while, looked as if he had trouble with his knee, and I think he was advised to go off, Jeff.
And that first ball from Chris Wood, Shazad leans forward out the outside edge, doesn't carry to Will Smith at gully, and he stops it, and there's no run. So we're still interested to see, but presumably Sussex will get to their third bonus point with only 1 run to get tonight. and Hampshire unlikely to get to their third one, because I think 3 wickets is unlikely tonight. Now, interestingly, Will Smith has moved from gully to short leg. Interesting from there. Will we see Wood bowling a short ball and seeing whether he can get the ball fended off into short leg's hands? And that ball goes past the outside edge, is taken by Wheater. So really at this stage of the game, quite an attacking field with 2 slips and a gully, a short leg, a fine leg mid-wicket and mid-on, and on the offside, apart from those attacking players, a cover and a mid-off. So Vince is certainly not letting the batsman relax at this particular stage, and Hampshire still going very hard at it, and that ball from Shazad is pushed back. Wood doesn't even threaten to throw the stumps down, but Shazad is back like a scalded cat, expecting the ball to be flung, and for somebody, I guess, who's played for Yorkshire and Lancashire, would expect a little bit of aggression from the bowler.
He's still jumping about though, isn't he? He's not exuding confidence, is Shazad.
No, it's Wood in again to bowl, out past the outside edge. Everybody in the slip cordon was very interested. Wheater takes the ball and there is no run. Brown is tapping the pitch 3 or 4 yards from where he is at the non-striker's end, but I don't think that's where Wood pitched that particular ball.
No, it's a much fuller length than that.
So maybe a good little bit of gamesmanship at this particular time of night. And now Carberry is going from square leg to deep square leg, so presumably this is where we're likely to see a short ball coming in. Not that, it was up to the bat, turned sweetly off his legs to Jimmy Tomlinson at fine leg. That's the 300, scored the 3rd point for Sussex, 300 for 6, and just over 2 overs to go before the end of today's play. Or at least a minimum of 2 overs to go.
Yeah, it'll be, I think at maximum 1 extra. Maximum 1 extra.
The scoreboard still has Hampshire as being +4, but that of course will not be right if they do make 96. And the last ball is outside the off stump, and interesting, and you wonder whether that's deliberate from Hampshire's point of view, keeping Brown off strike to keep him sweating overnight as to whether he's going to get 100 or not. All very interesting, and interesting that with James Vince now doing this captaincy, whether that's thoughtful captaincy or just one of those things that just happened.
Yeah, I think Vince is certainly being groomed, isn't he, in terms of does the T20. I'm assuming he's the T20 captain again this year.
And the 50 over captain.
And the 50 over captain.
And he captained the Lions as well, didn't he, when he was
did,
out in South Africa.
Yeah.
So maybe he's being groomed as a future England captain, which may be a poisoned chalice, one never knows. And we're just getting now Briggs ready to bowl again. The sense of urgency is not there within the field, and you see Tomlinson moving to the key position of backward point. Interesting field position for him, and the first ball, Shazad is down the pitch, pushes it back, but Briggs fields the ball on the half volley, and there's no run. He's in again to bowl from the northern end, and Shazad pushes it back again, and Briggs fields again. This sort of stage of a game, you wonder whether you need the other 9 fielders or whether you just need the batsman and the bowler. There are certainly 3 threatening Shazad, that you do need an extra fielder.
He hit that sweetly enough to mid-wicket, didn't he?
He did, and mid-wicket, bent down to pick it up, missed it entirely, and it was fortunately being well backed up, and there was no run. Briggs again has the ball in his hand. Studious forward defensive shot from Shazad, and we're getting to that situation where There is no sense of urgency in the proceedings at the moment, as we see backward square leg going from saving one to out on the boundary, presumably saying, well, if you do get it through here, we'll give you one and keep Brown off strike. And Briggs comes into bowl, I think the last ball of his over.
Oh.
And Shazag goes down the pitch looking to hit through mid-on, turns it into a Yorker, just gets the bat down, it hits his pad, and there's once again no run. So it's 5 minutes to go. It'll be interesting to see whether Wood actually gets through his over in that time, or whether Simon is, as always, with his crystal ball, right in saying there'll be one extra over, which I think he mentioned something like half an hour ago.
5-2. Who we got? Who we got on?
Chris Wood.
Oh, Wood. Yeah, Wood. Still Wood. Yeah, 300. Well, how would you see honours today, Jeff?
I would have said that Sussex had actually done very well to recover from the early position of 26 for 3, but for the first day in Division 1, with the fact that Hampshire are missing 2 of their key bowlers, and also suffering with the fact that Jimmy Adams is off the field, having been injured a little bit, have done remarkably well. As Wood comes in again to bowl to Brown, who pushes it to mid-on, where Danny Briggs fields the ball. So I guess I'm saying that's about honours even.
Yeah, I'd say that 20 odd for 3. Good partnership then by Joyce and Kachapa. And then another couple of quick wickets. Then that really good partnership with Joyce and not Joyce, with Luke Wright, who got out for 96. Brown is not out 85 currently. Then another couple of wickets. Or the 1 wicket, sorry, of Luke Wright. But 300 for 6. Yeah, 3 points to Sussex, 2 to Hampshire, as that ball is through Brown. 4 balls to go in this over.
Wood comes in again, charging in quite quickly outside the off stump, very wide. Brown not flinging the bat at the ball, and there's no run. And interestingly, we now have Berg not at a normal cover, but cover point right on the boundary.
That sweeper is employed, isn't it, on so many occasions these days.
And I think that's a deliberate ploy to make sure that Brown doesn't get a 4 and could only get 1 at the maximum for any shot to that particular part of the field. And Wood is in again, bowls outside the off stump, taken by Wheater, and there's no run.
Again, well outside the off stump, wasn't it? Maybe employing tactics there or not. Maybe expecting him to have a flay at it.
Well, certainly it's the time to do it when there's maybe a little bit of a feeling that yes, I might manage to get some runs tonight. And interestingly,
Brought him in.
Yeah, brought them in. A couple of balls the over to go, so not going to give him an easy single. I guess Brown will be thinking he wants to hit a 4. In it comes to Brown, and played exactly to Carberry, who had come in from the boundary at the square leg.
Dug that out, didn't he?
He did. And Vince vindicated again with his field placing, keeping Brown on strike. 1 ball to go. And it'll be interesting to see whether we have time for 1 more over. I suspect we will, as Wood comes in to bowl the last ball of the over, and it's played by Brown to mid-on, and there's no run. And now the umpire's checking the time.
He's actually asking him, isn't he? What do you think?
And
Don't know what the pavilion clock says.
it's a question of whether the umpire gets to the stumps in time, which he has, and there will be 1 over. That crystal ball of yours is in incredible form, Simon.
They're obviously they're all thinking and talking, and I thought once the umpire had got there and made that was it.
That is, they have to be there, but there's certainly no sense of urgency from Hampshire to get through this last over. And it'll be very interesting to see how quickly we actually get through it. Quite an aggressive field with 3 close catches and everybody else saving one. Shazad plays forward, pushes it back to Danny Briggs.
He
and
plays
there's no
this
run.
quickly, there may be another over. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. If you go and pat a cake back, second ball.
The Patakate back, and it's fielded by, I can't see who that is actually from his demeanour. Well, that
Is
may
that
be
what
the
the
12th
sub?
man.
That's the
12th
sub,
man,
yeah.
That'll be why I didn't recognise him, because we don't know who he is, do we?
No, they've had 2 out. Definitely 2 out.
And here we have Briggs in again, and that's played to deep mid-on, but they do not take a single, and the ball is back with
Is that 3 gone, Jeff?
3 gone,
3 gone.
3 to go.
Oh,
He goes down the pitch
beat him,
looking to
didn't
be, beat him in the air, put his pads in the way. I think
Pity.
Wheaty was hoping for a
Pity,
stumping there.
yeah. That'd have been a good way to close play.
It would indeed.
Well, he got nowhere near the 100, did he?
No, nowhere near at all, 85.
2 fours, so we were thinking he was away. Oops, oops, Jazad backing away. Dead ball, signalled by Russell Evans.
Is he a Welshman?
Well, you'd have to guess yes, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I was talking to Martin
Don't know.
Pritchard earlier. I thought Welsh were taking over everything. Commentary and all the umpiring, all the decisions. As Briggs in again to bowl, and Shazad pushes out to
That's it. That's
mid
it.
on.
That's it. What do you think? One more? No, 6 o'clock. 6:01. Oh, they're walking. They're going to have a look at the clock. They're going to have a look at the clock. Well, it's gone 6 o'clock. It's gone 6. They're they're off.
Simon, are you ever wrong?
Oh dear, the answer to that is am I ever right? My name's Luke. Well, there we go. 300 for 6, Jeff. Come on, give us a brief summary then.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting day's cricket. We saw an early collapse of Sussex with 26 for 3. Gareth Berg ending up with 2 wickets, one with his first ball in the first division for Hampshire, and at one stage I think had taken 2 for something like 6 runs off the same number of overs. But then a very good recovery by Sussex, led by Ed Joyce and Pachopa, who put on a very useful stand. Then, having lost those wickets, we saw a 100 stand from Luke Wright, who played very well. I think we can only recall 1 false shot actually.
He had a super innings. He attacked from the start, didn't he? Then he consolidated. But I agree. I thought there was only one that was you could describe as we have a guru coming in front of us.
Yes.
Hello there. Gosh, I'm talking to you. Doesn't half look like you. Right, back to the summary.
Oh, and back to the summary, yes, and then a very good partnership between Luke Wright and Ben Brown. Brown is still there with 85. Wright scored a very good 96, and then was, I think, annoyed to get himself out at that particular moment. Shazad has come in and not looked very comfortable with what was happening, but is now currently there on 12 not out. And that is the end of the day's play, with 97 overs being bowled, and we look forward to a very interesting day and see what Hampshire do with their first day of batting in Division 1.
Yeah, it's
And it should be quite interesting, particularly if Jimmy Adams is not able to open the innings, having sustained that knock with diving after the ball and hitting the advertising boards. But Hampshire really are more of a batting side. When we look down, you see Gareth Berg, who's come from Middlesex, batting at number 8, and Chris Wood. It's a situation that Wood is a very useful batter, as indeed is Briggs. And Tomlinson, of course, at the end of last season, turned into one of the most obdurate batsmen in the whole of the division.
Well, that's the way to end the day's play. Obdurate, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's the word to look up in your thesaurus. You've never been described as obdurate, have you, Mr. Levick?
No, can I quote the Fifth Amendment on that? Because it might have been a word which is something like that being said about probably by my wife. Or was it obstinate? Is that similar?
No, obdurate. I see you as more obdurate than obstinate.
Oh. Or was it obsolete?
Yeah, well, that's definitely true.
But a very interesting day. First day's play in Division 1 at the Ageas Bowl here. It's been a gorgeous day. There's some cloud coming in now, but we're looking forward to another fine day tomorrow, which we're told is going to be warmer than today, not quite so much wind. But we are hoping that it will be another great day's cricket, and we look forward to welcoming you tomorrow morning at 5 to 11 to hear more of what is actually happening on Hampshire's return to Division 1.